There will be a short delay of flight.
Before I get into my rant, I just want to play this small little clip for you guys before I get started.
Y'all mean, and you guys are negative.
Y'all heard her. Welcome to another edition of Coffee and Beats. I am your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent, back with another episode. And before I get into all of that, I want to get this out the way real quick. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications so that you can get access to all of my episodes. Share this with your loved ones because I'm sure they would all love to hear this podcast. Did I just belch in between me saying all? Anyway, you're here for one thing and one thing only. You saw the thumbnail, and we are here to talk about none other than Amerie's Tiny Desk performance. Now, I was on vacation during the airing of this Tiny Desk, so just want to clear the air on something before people start attacking me in the comment section. I only saw clips of certain elements of the performance. I saw a clip of Why Don't We Fall in Love, and when NPR even announced it, the lead up to this Tiny Desk, I got excited. I generally love her first two albums. I thought Amerie was a very underrated artist during the 2000s, and a lot of things happened where her career wasn't really able to skyrocket in comparison to Beyonce or Jennifer Lopez or Janet Jackson, so to speak. She had a small time in the spotlight, but she made a mark when she was out there during the early to mid 2000s, and she even came out with a couple of more records after that as an independent artist, but it really didn't do anything. It couldn't capture that flavor that she had back in 2005 with One Thing. And so here we are, I think 10 years since she's performed in front of a huge crowd. Don't quote me on the 10-year thing, but it's been a long time since she's performed. I just have to say, after watching a few clips, I saw the first clip of her singing Why Don't We Fall in Love in NPR's Instagram feed, and I instantly posted it in my story because I was just excited. I didn't see the whole performance yet, but I was just excited. Then I started getting DMs, and I'm like, wait a minute. Based off all the DMs that I'm getting, a lot of mixed reactions to this performance. And I was on vacation, so I couldn't really sit down and watch the full 18-minute clip of the performance. And so when I watched it after my vacation, I watched it in its entirety, and I got thoughts. Some of y'all got some explaining to do. I gotta get something off my chest. Amerie dropped that Tiny Desk performance, and I went straight to nostalgia mode. All right, I am guilty of that. When I came up during that era of R&B, the nostalgia hit me. But then I also watched this Tiny Desk performance and said a lot of folks got amnesia. Like, the internet all of a sudden forgot who Amerie was and is and what she brought to the game. Now, first off, let's rewind a little bit. Amerie is not some industry plant, which is something I've also, it was another comment that I saw in a TikTok, somebody trying to accuse her of being an industry plant, and she wasn't all that talented in the first place, and they're using her, and this is what the type of look that the industry looks for to push artists like this. And she was not an industry plant. She didn't trip, fall, and land on one hit, and that was it. She came out the gate with Why Don't We Fall in Love, a certified summertime classic, dropped her first album, All I Have, which was a very good album. And then she followed up and she dropped One Thing, which was the lead single for her second album, which was Touch, which honestly, I think Touch was a better album than All I Have, but that's to be debated in the comment section. I like debates like that. But one thing, when she dropped that, the go-go percussions, right? No one was doing go-go percussion. I know a lot of people point to Crazy in Love as that was the go-go percussion, and actually Amerie was inspired by Crazy in Love, which is arguable. And I'm not one of those guys that's gonna come out here and say that Beyonce stole Amerie style or Amerie style stole Beyonce style. They both were really good around that time. When I was coming up listening to both of those tracks, I didn't hear a lot of comparisons between Amerie and Beyonce coming up. I think that narrative started to grow after we see Beyonce's career kind of take off and Amerie's didn't. And then people want to backtrack and say, well,
she was doing what Amerie was doing, but it's Beyonce.
No, that's not what the deal was. Pharrell, Beyonce, Omarion, J-Lo, even the likes of artists like MIA followed that sound, and that sound was something that was created by Rich Harrison. Let's put some respect on Rich Harrison. He's the one that created this sound, and he's the one that was a part of some of the production of Amerie's first album in 2002 before Crazy in Love came out. He was a hot commodity in 2002, and he was starting to make noise, and Amerie just so happened to be the first artist to really work with him with that sound, and some of it was featured in the All I Have album. As a result of Rich Harrison wanting to sell that sound to other bigger artists, Amerie made a diss track towards Rich Harrison because things started to get flaky after the Touch album that featured One Thing, and the creative differences started to happen between Rich Harrison and Amerie. Amerie made a diss track towards Rich Harrison for distributing that sound to other bigger popular artists. So the Amerie anger was not aimed at Beyonce. In fact, One Thing was technically supposed to be a Jennifer Lopez song. Amerie, she heard the noise that they're going to try to give Jennifer Lopez the song, even though Amerie wrote the song. And Amerie leaked the song early in 2024 during the holidays, just so they wouldn't give the song to Jennifer Lopez. So, Beehive, let me talk to you for a minute. If you cancel me, it's fine. I don't make money off this podcast, so you're not hurting me. But Beyonce fans, pump the brakes on this whole Beyonce versus Amerie narrative that was stirred up by the media, not by Amerie, not by even Beyonce, but this was stirred up by the media. So let's get that out the way. I'm glad I got that out the way. I'm going to get into my top 5 reasons why Amerie's Tiny Desk wasn't as bad as you thought. Her mic was fighting her, not her vocals. Let's be real. Sound engineering did her dirty. The mic was set too low, so every time she went away, and I noticed this during her performance, every time she went away from the mic, you couldn't really pick up her voice. And so whoever was running the mixing clearly clocked out mentally. Amerie had breath control and was hitting her notes with the earlier songs that she performed. Now, once she got to One Thing, one can argue she was a little out of breath, and she had so much energy. She was just so excited about being on Tiny Desk that she was just, super hyped. She's doing this, she's doing that, the hair's bouncing and stuff like that. And she put so much energy into those songs. So once she got to One Thing, and once she got to that point, everything was out the window. I'm gonna get into the background singers in a moment, but reason number two, Amerie still got that stage presence. She was locked in, she was engaged, and still moved like it was the 2005 BET Spring Bling. Even with the mic drama, she kept her composure, she stayed on beat, and gave us a performance that was professional. It was professional It was happy. It was joyful. I wasn't sitting there watching it like, oh my God, what is she doing out there? She is really jacking this thing up. That's what I got from it. She still had that stage presence. I'm a huge concert goer myself. I like stage presence. I want to see that. And I'm not saying stage presence means more to me than the actual vocals. I want them to sing the song too, but I want them to give me that energy that I'm giving them. And that's what she gave when she was in Tiny Desk, which Tiny Desk is kind of like a more low-key, mellowed out type of setting. And she brought the energy. Okay, she brought the energy. Reason number 3, her background singers did not do her any favors. Now listen, I'm not here to throw shade, but let's tell the truth. Her background singers was not in unison with the harmonies of the song, for one thing at least. I thought they did well earlier in the performances. Why Don't We Fall in Love, their vocals were a little choppy, but on the other songs they did pretty good. So I'm not going to sit here and throw pies and tomatoes at the background singers. They did a decent job. It just felt like Amerie didn't get a lot of practice in with the background singers so that they can be more in sync with what's going on. The band brought it. I'm not going to blame the band on this one. I thought the band was doing their thing. Even the band, you see the facial expressions from some of the band members. Something's not right. Something's a little off key. So if anything, it was a distraction from her tone and it didn't blend in well. Amerie was out there just basically compensating with the dancing, with the joy, with the entertainment value. She knows how to perform, so she knows how to get over certain tech faults or background singer faults. And to completely blame Amerie for this poor performance of the only song that was a poor performance was one thing. All the rest of the songs they did pretty good. Is like blaming a quarterback for throwing an on-point pass to the wide receiver and the wide receiver drops it. We're going to continue to blame the quarterback because the wide receiver dropped the pass. Makes no sense. Reason number 4, Tiny Desk isn't meant for big vocals. I repeat, Tiny Desk is not meant for big vocals. It's meant for vibes. If you go back and watch different Tiny Desk, people get on Tiny Desk because they like the vibes of Tiny Desk. They like the small, intimate crowds, that is presented at Tiny Desk. And it's not a vocal Olympics. And Amerie brought groove, nostalgia, chill energy, along with great energy. Once she got to one thing, as you saw, she got into the crowd. She was high-fiving people. She was dancing with people. She was just excited to be back in the spotlight. You don't go to Tiny Desk expecting Mariah Carey's whistle register. You go to catch the vibe with the artist in raw form, and she gave you that. She gave you raw, unapologetic Amerie. And reason number 5, my last reason, she gave us timeless tracks with confidence. And let's not act brand new. One Thing is still a banger to this day, and she performed it like she knew it. It was just not on key. Everything was not on key with the background singers. Amerie stood 10 toes in her catalog, gave us each of those hits that she was known for, and she proved why she still deserves a spot in the R&B conversation. So before we sit here, and the dust and the dirt was already kicked on Amerie. I'm sure many of you are on social media. I saw the TikToks, I saw the reels, I saw the shorts. The discord out there about her performance has been mixed, but at the same time, this is not going to make or break Amerie's career. She has a new album coming out. I think it's going to do pretty good based off the Tiny Desk performance alone. It got people back interested in Amerie. And let's not act like no one was even thinking about Amerie until she did this Tiny Desk. So for people to say, make it a whole Beyonce Amerie thing, you guys were at these concerts, the Cowboy Carter tour is going on right now. None of y'all talking about Amerie at those kinds. No one was dancing to the Cowboy Carter songs at the concert and was saying, see?
Amerie wouldn't have sung like this.
None of y'all mentioned Amerie. None of y'all. So let's just stop it. Let's give this thing some context. Before we go clown her Tiny Desk in group chats, go back, rewatch it from a different perspective. Listen without the hate goggles on. And Amerie didn't flop. She fought through a shaky setup and still gave us a good performance. If I would have to rate the performance from my coffee rating, I would give it 3 coffee cups out of 5. That is my rating for her Tiny Desk performance. But just like this content creator said, roll the clip.
So if she's going to come back into mainstream musically, allow her some grace to get back into her groove of performing, getting tight-knit with her band and her background singers, and allow her to go through her artist development, because sometimes if artists have not performed in a while, they can be a little bit rusty, and allow her to get back to who she is artistically and allow us to enjoy that and give her grace. That is my only 2 cents.
In conclusion, judging Amerie's 2025 performance on Tiny Desk and wanting it to sound and look like a 2005 version of One Thing is like pulling out a classic car out of the garage after 15 years. You haven't drove it not one time, and you get into the car expecting it to race like it's a brand new Tesla. Come on, give it some context. She's 45 years old, ladies and gentlemen. 45 years old. Hasn't been touring nonstop or vocally in a similar way as Beyonce, who's been able to sharpen her craft, perform globally, and drop album after album after album. That's like comparing a retired track star who just came back for a charity run to someone who's still out there breaking track records. It makes no sense. The fact that Amerie even showed up, did it live with grace, and still hit those harmonies in some pockets, especially with the background singers that kind of struggling a little bit, is a testament to her talent. Respect the legacy, not just the latest headlines or the latest clickbait. That's all I have to say. Those are my thoughts, and I'm sticking to it. I am, once again, your musical barista, Rod the Magnificent. And when it comes to coffee, in which I have my coffee today, but when it comes to coffee, when it comes to music, stay grounded for life. What were your thoughts on Amerie's Tiny Desk performance? Do you think it was good? Do you think it was bad? I want to hear it. What you think in the comment section below. Also, how do you think her new album is going to be when it comes out? I'm looking forward to it. Me personally, I'm looking forward to possibly reviewing it on the channel. So let me know in the comment section. I'll be down there chatting with you. But until then, I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace.